Hi, friends. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Katie, and welcome to Okay, But Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today, we're recapping and chatting about Once Upon a Time, episode 405, Breaking Glass. This episode aired on October 26th, 2014. It was written by Kalinda Vasquez and Scott Nemurfro and was directed by Ulrich Riley. Before we get into our recapping and chatting, let's go over a synopsis for Breaking Glass. In Hopkins, Minnesota, fall of 1998. Having escaped her last group home, Emma tries to lift a box of Pop-Tarts from a grocery store. When an employee nearly catches her, a girl intercepts and offers her a cover so that they can get the food that they need. Lily is another girl on the run like Emma, and they break into one of the abandoned houses to stay. Emma thinks she's finally found a friend who understands her. But when the man who is after Lily finds them, Emma learns that he's actually Lily's adopted father. Lily had a family all along, and Emma felt betrayed, never forgiving her again. And in Storybrooke today, the hunt for the Snow Queen continues. Regina wants to force Ingrid's hand to unfreeze Marion, and Emma is in search of Elsa, who wandered off from their original mission. Regina is hiding from Emma that Sydney is the one guiding them rather than a locator spell, and she's getting irritated that Emma is trying to be forgiven for ruining her life. Elsa follows what she thinks is Anna, only to be caught in Ingrid's trap to keep her out of her way so that she can confront Regina and Emma and steal Regina's mirror with Sydney inside. After they part ways, Emma admits that she wasn't looking for Regina to assuage her guilt. She was looking for a friend. And Regina admits that she might be more willing to be a part of that friendship than she lets on. Ingrid frees Sydney from his mirror. She didn't need him for her plan, but the mirror itself. She has something up her sleeve that will soon give her what she wants, a family who loves her. At the end of the day, having old memories dug up cause Emma to bring out her box of what's left of her childhood. She sees an old camcorder and plugs it in to watch the tape. She sees what she expects, the video she took with Lily, followed by something she doesn't remember, the foster home she went to after they parted ways, where Ingrid was her foster mother.
Dun, dun, dun.
That was a good, last scene kind of drop.
Yeah, it made the episode more enjoyable.
Yeah, this is an interesting episode.
And yeah, because there's just not a lot going on.
Yeah, this is one, it feels, to me, it felt overstuffed in that there was too much. I think I wrote this down in a somewhat academic sounding way. This episode feels a little overstuffed because you've got the flashback with Emma and Lily, but then in Storybrooke you have Regina's motives, Emma's motives, Elsa catching the weird Anna mirage, and Snow and David's adventures finding Will Scarlet. There's like an A plot, B plot, C plot, D plot, and ultimately you don't get enough of any of the plots to care about anything.
Yeah, which is really sad because Regina and Emma getting this big moment of heart to heart with each other and actually get it talking about the things they need to talk about, and
Yeah.
then it just feels empty.
Yeah.
After all of it, I'm like, all this heart to heart and emotions, and then it was just
And that's it. That's all
that's
that it
it.
is.
And I'm like, don't okay. But the first thing I wrote was just, I hate when people eat with their mouths open. My priorities were definitely where they needed to be when I started this. Because I didn't take a lot of notes
I was gonna say, because is that that's the flashback you're talking about?
Whenever, at the beginning, then they're eating, someone's smacking food, smacking their mouth while they're eating. It might have been Will Scarlet or whoever the fuck it was.
Maybe the Pop-Tart.
I think it was the Pop-Tart. And I'm just sitting here no, don't like it because I'm wearing the headphones listening to him chew.
Okay.
And I hate it so much. So that's all I could focus on.
So I was gonna say, if your first note is the flashback of Emma and Lily eating on the lake, that's 15 minutes into the episode.
Yeah, no, that's my second one. I was like, oh, okay,
Oh.
young Emma. That's yeah.
Yeah, that's Abby Ross. We saw her in the season 3 finale. Very, very, very briefly.
Okay.
But this is one thing. I think I put this out last time. So and also in the next, we actually got a time marker. They did mark this as 1998. And in the next episode, when they look over the tape again, Emma's going to say she thought she was 13, maybe 14. So there's 2 years of gap between Emma as Abby Ross and Emma as Jennifer Morrison in Tallahassee.
That makes no sense. Wear the glasses.
It's not. That's true. Yeah, where are that? I never questioned that. Where are her glasses?
Where are her glasses? Because she opens them and she holds them in in the box.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, did she not get her eyes tested? Oh, maybe. Maybe that's what the big story with Ingrid is. She got her glasses. I don't fucking know.
No, yeah, That's a good point. Well, because I'm certain that the glasses they pull out of the box are probably Jennifer Morrison's glasses. But yeah, we never see Abby Ross wearing glasses.
No.
We don't see her a handful of times. So I think we're going to see her. I think she's got one more flashback this season, and then any other flashbacks we see of Emma after that are her younger. So it's going to be McKenna Grace.
Okay. And see, and then my next thing is just we go straight to like Regina looking at the pictures.
Yes.
And I just went, how does she already have pictures printed with him in frames? What? Like,
sorry, I lied. There's 2 more episodes of Abby Ross flashback. But no, also the fact that they continually use screenshots of the show as photos. Like, it's real easy. I understand that you have access to every frame you need, but that was literally one of the fun facts was like the fact of the picture of the 2 of them is a screenshot from, I think that's what 319, and then the Polaroid is a screenshot from 206 that
but it's
shouldn't exist.
framed. It's framed.
Uh-huh.
She even got it framed. Well, there's not enough time here for that to have been a thing.
You know what? Let's call it memory magic. She created a photo and a frame from the memory, even though it's outside her body. Let's go with that.
I don't know what else Charming was saying because I just got really happy when he said, if we fall through a portal to Asgard.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I see what you're going there, writer. It's very clever. We understand. We understand the references.
Yeah. No, not creepy at all. Everybody hanging out in the forest at night, running around on bridges.
There was a really old interview that I've been trying to find, and I think the channel that had it just took it down. There was an interview with Elizabeth Mitchell, and I think it was this episode she was talking about because at one point she said that Georgina Haig called her a scary clown, and in this episode I definitely see that.
Okay, then.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, this is when I reached the point. I don't even know if I was halfway because I took so few notes for this episode that I went, I get that important things are being told, but it's a bit boring. Like,
yeah.
Like when you made earlier today, you made the joke of like, are you ready to talk about your Disney soap opera again? And I'm like, yeah, heavy on the soap opera.
This one's a lot about interpersonal connections and gal pals and friendship and like
gal pals.
Like we say this all the time that Emma Swan is bisexual coded, but like truthfully, the Emma and Lily situation feels more than platonic.
It did. Okay, I'm not crazy because the whole time I'm like, oh, they're crushing. It's so cute. And then that's not what it was. And I was like, oh.
It doesn't help that Emma's wearing flannel and Lily's wearing a leather jacket.
No, that doesn't help. The hairstyle itself is, yeah.
Yeah.
That is a sapphic ponytail, and I'm not going to explain myself further.
No, nor do you have to. But it's a lot of I mean, there was a lot of parallels between the Emma and Lily situation with the Emma and Regina situation this episode. That was a lot of the connections, literally down to there was a line that that Emma said in both halves. Did I write it down? I don't think I did. This is the thing about having each other's backs.
Yeah.
Like we hear that in both. So that's clearly the through line they're making, which like, I'm just going to say this. I wish it was more than a coincidence that Lily looks a lot like Lana Parrilla.
Yeah, she does.
It's purely coincidence because we're going to see older Lily. And older Lily is one of the cases. She's a case of the casting of the show is fantastic. We say this all the time. Older Lily makes no sense.
Oh.
She is, well, Nicole Munoz is the one who plays Lily. Okay. She's Hispanic.
Yeah.
As far as I know, Agnes Bruckner is not. Who she plays older Lily. She is white, as far as I can tell. So if someone has more information that beyond what I can see on Wikipedia, please let me know. But so she doesn't. So she's a different race than the younger version. She doesn't look a whole lot like her, nor does she look like a different character who she should look closer to. And she doesn't.
Fun.
So it's just that one was. She got the tension and like the character and the performance really well, but just without the physicality, there's no amount of performance that makes it seem like these are the same person.
That's annoying.
Yeah, it's weird.
Happens.
You'll meet Lily. That's 419.
Okay, not too bad.
Older Lily.
So, the Snow Queen is nearly my favorite villain so far. She's like so Lana good. Will always win, I think.
Oh yeah,
because it's Lana.
Mhm.
But Snow Queen is creeping up on her because I really
So
love the like, I know you pointed out from the beginning how, like, she's soft-spoken before I even
Mhm.
actually really saw her, so, like,
Yep.
I already knew that, but actually experiencing is it's very
Mhm.
I'm loving this because I love different types of villains,
Yeah.
and, Disney can be a little it's Disney. They're
Yeah.
very they're
Well,
they don't have like, we don't have enough of the backstories to the villains.
yeah.
We don't.
What's really interesting is with this season, we have Ingrid paired with the Queens of Darkness in the next half of the season. And the women that played them, they made the nice kind of juxtaposition that like the season you kind of have two halves of the same not two have the same story, but you have what happens with time because you have like the young women in like their 20s and early 30s being princesses and happy and light, and then you have women in their late 40s, early 50s being villains. Like that's what happens as you get older. That's the joke that she makes.
Mhm.
But also you have the juxtaposition of this first half of the season is Ingrid, very quiet, very soft spoken, very, we respect property in this house, Hammock. Very, very,
Mhm.
very sure of herself. Paired with Cruella DeVille next in the next half of the
Who's
season.
flamboyant and
She's all over the fucking place. And this is my favorite lines without it. I mean, it has no context in general, but blasted birds. I'll show you what angry looks like. It's a great
oh
line.
my goodness.
She's just so over the top. You have her, you have Ursula, and you have Mal, and we'll see more. Mal
Yeah.
she's reserved in her own right. I will say this version of Maleficent isn't super over the top. She is, but she isn't.
I mean, we can't
Cruella's
always have Christian Chenoweth,
this is
so
true. We can't, but no. But Victoria Smurfit's Cruella is balls to the wall, and the fact that I know that they had to rein her back with the energy, like she was
that's
going like
oh.
overly cartoony. They're like, okay, we're gonna take it down like 17 notches. It's just that's really funny that's this villains we have this season is we have Ingrid. I can kill you now and decorate this cavern with your bones. Shall I try? And Cruella just I love her so much because I can't say so many of her lines because some of like, they'll make no sense or worse they'll be spoilers by accident.
Yeah,
So
let's not spoil me because I'm
no,
having too much fun.
You have to experience Cruella for yourself. She's wonderful. But
So,
Ingrid is also fantastic.
I also liked the line about a boozy bookworm. I was like, "Ha ha, that used to be me."
Not so much anymore.
Over I think today's like 302
Mhm.
without alcohol.
Nice.
So, yeah, I recently reached 300 days, and I'm like, "Shit, I'm almost to a year."
Mhm.
So I'm not a boozy bookworm anymore, but I thought that
No.
was funny.
Yeah.
The, this CGI is also getting good. Like,
Yeah.
this is much better CGI than we have been subjected to before.
Oh, absolutely. And when we get to see more of, like, the Arendelle sets, like, I say this all the time about the physical sets,
Mhm.
the CGI standing sets are gorgeous. Like, kinda like what I said with the Emerald Castle, the Arendelle sets are beautiful.
Okay.
But also, I like that Ingrid's, version of Marshmallow is more Viking than anything else, which makes sense.
I kinda liked that, though.
Yeah. Definitely more menacing than Marshmallow.
I was like because well, like, I didn't wanna write it down. I almost did of, like, the whole, like, "It's an ice Viking," but I'm like, "Nope, horned helmets, it's not a Viking." Vikings didn't wear horned helmets.
I
That is
know.
a mistake. But yeah, I just kept writing, "Okay, interesting, interesting. Woohoo, a
Mhm.
much needed heart to heart between Regina and Emma," like I said, but that
Yeah.
was about it. I didn't have a
Mhm.
lot to say. Like, I I got bored.
No, which is honestly fair.
And then, of course, like, that bit at the end, I'm like, "Oh, shit," but that's about it. That was the best part of the episode, was finding
Yeah.
out that information. The rest, I was like, "Okay, what's next?"
Yeah, I love the fruition of that scene. We'll see that's in the flashbacks in 410. And it's that scene and just getting to see young Emma and Ingrid's relationship and how that all works is just it's compelling and it's fascinating. And like at one point I just wrote, Ingrid, I have no notes. Like
Oh, I love her.
I mean, she's so captivating to watch, and I want more of her and less of Will fucking Scarlet. He's right. He's redundant. That's what the actor had said when he was asked about why he didn't return was he's redundant.
Yeah, well,
He's
none
not
of it
needed.
makes sense. Like, it's just added on storyline that
Basically, yeah.
goes nowhere.
Considering the fact that Snow will stop being the mayor at the end of this arc, like by the time we get to 4B, it's Regina again. So because she's just
Good.
decided she's had enough. So anything that happens with her being the mayor this season, this arc, to me is just like, I know this is all for naught anyway. So, but what's nice is we will get to see Regina will in fact set the bird painting on fire.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah. So I do have some fun facts, weirdly enough.
Okay.
There are fun facts for this episode.
For such a boring episode.
I know, but I also have a minor rant of my own, which prefacing this with I'm ranting about timeline things. I don't give a shit about J.K. Rowling. I hate her as a person. This episode mentions Harry Potter. It's something timeline wise that I feel the need to rant on after the fun facts. So the reason why Emma's backstory happens in Minnesota, despite the fact that we saw her in Massachusetts and she says that she hopped a bus from Boston, is because that's where Eddie Kitsis is from.
Oh.
But it's funny that she's in Minnesota because I learned this from that Midwestern mom video, and I looked it up again to verify. Honeycrisp trees were developed, or Honeycrisp apples were developed in Minnesota in the 70s. And Regina claims that even though we know that the apples are red delicious and not Honeycrisp, she still goes on that rant about how her tree is a Honeycrisp tree, and Emma's in Minnesota. I find that very funny.
It's only as funny as it is because they're red delicious.
No, I know, but but she goes this whole rant about how Honeycrisp trees are the hardiest and most vigorous of all apple trees, and they were invented in a state where she spent a lot of time. I find that hilarious personally. So there was a bit in the previously on Once Upon a Time that was actually from a deleted scene, not from a recent episode. It was a line Regina says, he's honor bound to stay with his wife, therefore I have to save her. That's from a conversation that Regina had with Snow in, I believe, the last episode. It would have been in the last episode based off of the outfit that she was in. But they didn't, I guess he wasn't needed for the episode because she kind of had most of her emotional conversations with Henry. But they felt like it was something that, like, it was a good quick way to jog the memory of the viewers. As we mentioned, the framed photo is a screenshot from A Curious Thing, and the Polaroid is also a screenshot from Tallahassee. When Emma and Lily are running away, they pass by a gate that has the word Cora graffitied on it, weirdly enough. Whether that was intentional or not, we don't know. The spot where Lily draws the star on Emma's wrist is where she'll later get her tattoo.
Gotcha.
And here's my little rant about timeline-wise. So something Lily says about her star scar is that it makes her feel special like Harry Potter. They mention that this is fall, and we know that it's 1998. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was published in the United Kingdom in 1997. It wasn't published in the United States until September 1st of 1998. It would have literally just hit shelves. So if the fact of Emma being a foster system kid absolutely would not have had access to that.
Or known what it was.
She would have, maybe she's just yes-anding her way through life. Lily may have had access to the book, but even still, it would have literally just come out. So, like, Emma's going to make another reference to it in 410, which I'm just like, this is just like, there's no way she would have been able to read it by then.
No, there's no way.
So I get that it's a reference that's very recognizable to viewers, and it's the fact that they gave us a year. I used to, based off stuff of like timing wise, I figured this was 1997 until I actually saw that it said 1998. So I was like, it didn't even come out yet. So that's a whole plot hole. Like, it still is it's too close, given that it came out in September.
And it wasn't as widely known yet. Because it did pick up a big following, obviously.
Yes.
I read it probably at about 7 years old.
I didn't start reading it until, I think I read it.
I think I was like 7, 8 years old when I started.
I think I read the first one for the first time in 4th grade. So that would have been 2004, 2005.
So about 9. So yeah. And that was only, because I was 4 in 98. So 4 years after that, it's probably about the time I started reading it. And and when I was 11, I think around 11, 12 years old is also when the movies started coming out. So it didn't get really famous and people didn't really know until the movies picked it. Like, it was picked up for the movie.
Yeah. And this is absolutely, like, they say fall. So it's definitely like late September, early October, because Emma in the next episode will say she was 13, maybe 14. And so if we're going off of 98, her birthday is October 23rd. So that means it has to be before then. So it's within the first month that it was published. That's just way too close.
It's too close. And because a runaway foster is not going to have access to that.
No.
Or be worried about that when they're worried about where their next meal is coming from.
Exactly.
That's just not going to happen.
One thing we never see her, we do see that Emma has a love for stories. We see her with like a fairy tale book in a flashback, I think in season 6. But we never see her like, I don't know, patron libraries, which I feel like is something that a foster kid on the run might do.
Maybe,
That
maybe.
just feels like something a kid would. I'm just speculating here, but
I'm just thinking like if or that or there because like I know for a lot of us we see libraries as like sanctuary.
mm-hmm.
Would a kid that doesn't have full knowledge of what libraries do or that they're safe places also deem that, or would they be worried about like of mandatory reporters or somebody who work?
Maybe no, that's true.
Now that I think about it, I think librarians are up there with like no, they've got to call someone if a kid is there by themselves with no.
Yeah, this also was the 90s.
Never mind.
Like
My
I'm just
entire argument's gone.
I'm just saying, like you're not wrong about today. I'm like we're talking about the
Yeah.
90s. We're talking about Matilda era where where like we have the librarian like I mean I guess that was written in the
Yeah.
70s. Either way though,
It
I
was
mean,
written in the 70s, yeah, but
but either way, we're still talking about the era where like a librarian would just take a 5-year-old around the children's books.
yeah, no, seriously. Like
So
now, I mean, I'm having flashbacks now to or like late 90s, early 2000 library trips, but yeah, I didn't give
yeah,
a fuck. These are the librarians that went, "Oh, you've already read like everything. You need something higher grade. Okay, let's take you to the adult books." Like
mm-hmm.
they skipped what they skipped YA.
Yeah. Well, also YA wasn't as much of a thing when we
It
were
really wasn't.
kids. Like I would say, I hate using this analogy, but Twilight I think was more of like where like that level of YA, like books for teenagers, like at
Well,
least of this
Rick
generation.
Riordan too.
Yeah. Well, that was 2000, yeah, but his books are still middle grade.
Are they
His books are considered middle grade
really?
because the Percy's
Percy
12.
Jackson is middle grade.
I'm pretty sure that's the way that it's categorized. Hang on, librarian here. Let's look things up.
That if it is, that's blowing my mind though, because like I have the entirety of 2 of the series. I have the Lost Hero, the Hero, the Olympian, the Roman and the Greek. I've got those 2, but that's about it.
All right, we're on Scholastic's website.
Okay.
Yep, their Lexile puts it in 700 to 790, which is middle school levels. That's middle grade.
Oh, I am wrong. I did not know.
hmm Yeah, I was because I mean, part of it is the age of the character slash narrator because he's 12 in the first book, right?
Yeah, but he does get like he reaches adulthood by the end of.
Yeah, so like I would say probably Heroes of Olympus. That series is YA.
Okay, that would
That
make sense because
because his books like I would it's and that's like where like the Egyptian books, what was that? The Kane Chronicles. That one's kind
yeah.
of like that's like lower YA because that one's kind of straddling the line. I would say once we hit
Okay,
Heroes of Olympus, that's where it's hitting into the YA level because his books age with his readers, which I really appreciate.
and see, I don't know anything about his Norse series yet. I own the first one, but I
Never
haven't
read it.
read it, so I don't know about anything about the Norse one. I need to look into everything though because when do we get season 2?
It is. It was announced, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember when we're getting it. How boring was this episode? We're talking about Percy Jackson.
I have notes. Uh, Disney Plus just says 2025, so
Ah,
sometime this.
fuck.
So sometime this year.
Yeah.
But with this episode, I mean, I pulled out, I think, enough. So I put down the line. I've had my shots after she gives him the Pop Tart. So I think that was the chewing thing was the Pop Tart.
Hmm.
Um, and so I put this on because when they find the photos, when we see the photo of Emma with Ingrid, which we'll see again in 410. A lot happens in 410. 410 is a fantastic episode. I cannot wait for that one. That one, as opposed to this one where it's like nothing happened and it was so boring. That one's like, what the fuck did I watch? That's what's going to end up happening because that Shattered Sight is an episode that I thought on my old scale, I thought it was going to be a perfect score, which doesn't happen on my old scale because I
No.
use decimals. I had to take off a couple of things because I took off points into other places for the same thing. Like it got like out of 25, it got a 24.8.
Damn.
But like
That's saying something.
I really wanted to give it a perfect score, but I couldn't. But that one, so in the audio commentary for the first episode, they were talking about the leather jackets, and Jen was saying how much she loved the blue leather jacket that she wore a lot in the first season. And she's like, we wanted to try and bring it back, but once we established that it was part of the flashbacks, we didn't want to bring it into the current timeline. So we see in the photo she's wearing that jacket, which is sad. It's a good jacket. It's a good look on her.
Yeah.
But I do like the beige, like orangey leather jacket she's wearing this season. I'm a fan. Oh yeah, this is what I said. Once you screw them over, there's no. Oh, this was something else. Once you screw them over, there's no getting them back. Just because you hold on to grudges with the force of a million freight trains doesn't mean everyone does. Although I guess Regina is not a great exception to that rule.
Oh shit. I forgot about that.
And then you have the line, "I'm a little busy trying to save my true love's wife." It's great. Lily, why are you scoping out cute blondes in the Pop-Tart aisle?
Yeah, she kind of like that entire flashback was so gay.
It really, really was.
Like, it was weird.
And like every time we see the two of them together, it doesn't get less gay.
Oh god.
Like,
There was an opportunity here again.
it really, really was. But there's so much more to Lily's story that I can't say because it'll come. This
Yeah.
isn't a case of anything. This is not at all dropped off. Like it's who her biological father is something that I'll tell you about when we get there. But because that was one thing where they never actually explored it, mainly because the actor who plays her mother, they couldn't keep her for as long as they wanted to because of schedule conflicts. So they couldn't delve into that. So they gave us who it was, and I'm like, are you sure though? Are you sure that's what you're going with?
Now I'm nervous, but I know I'll see it.
It's just gonna be funny. Who her mother is, though, I think will be more interesting.
Okay.
We're gonna see that in the next half of the season. But again, I say this again. I wish her looking like Lana was less of a coincidence
Okay.
because they just happen to look very similar. But Lana is not her biological. Regina's not her
No, I
biological
didn't
mother.
think she
It's not Regina.
was. I didn't
But
think she was at all.
no, the things I'm dancing around right now. People who have watched the show are probably laughing because they know what I'm dancing around.
Well, shit, how long until I find out?
That is that Best Laid Plans? I think so. So 416. No, yeah, 416.
Jesus.
You got a while.
That's a few months away.
Yeah, you got about 11 episodes.
Oh my
But
god.
yeah, but that and then the you've had my back and I want you to know that I have yours. I said I like that callback again. I wish it was more than a coincidence than how close they look. But alas, Regina is not Lily's mother.
Nah, that's okay.
So right, I wrote down.
Henry is Regina's child.
Yes, Henry is Regina's only child. So
But did Emma spit out another one we didn't know about?
give it some years.
God damn it.
Give it some time.
Emma.
There's no kid floating in the ether right now.
Okay. I'm just sitting here just like we don't need to create more babies. We're good.
No, not at the moment.
We're good. The one with Neil was enough.
Exactly.
Because it was Neil.
Mm-hmm. But with Emma following Regina through the forest, Regina's line of "doesn't matter if I mind. If I say no, you'll just come anyway." I'm like, this whole episode, it felt like at least the stuff in the forest. Like I know there's a level of obviously their actors are very good at their job, and I'm sure it's just acting and feeling the writing. But Lana seemed to be getting some aggression out in that scene where she yells at Emma. I'm like, there are times where she's clearly just like enjoying like the fun with it. But this, I'm like, it feels like she had something going on in her personal life. Like there's a deep because I feel I've been watching a lot of Kristen Bauer interviews, not necessarily to prepare for next season, mostly or the next arc, mainly just because that's what pops up in my feed and I like listening to her talk. But like, and she was saying how like first and foremost when she pulls from things for other characters, like she's talking about like with True Blood specifically, she's like, I pull from how Kristen feels first. So like in relationships that in scenes that she had with Alex Skarsgård, like if Pam has to be crying because she's missed Eric, like, well, I probably haven't filmed with Alex for a couple of weeks and I miss Alex, so that makes it much easier. But so it almost felt a little bit like maybe she was getting out some
aggression,
not necessarily at Jen, but just in general.
Life.
I wrote down what it is that she said, and I'm like, it's such a good bit. Like, so I've impressed you. Well, then it makes it all worthwhile, then, doesn't it? Why are you doing that? I'm just trying to give you credit. I'm trying to be nice. And then what? Complimenting my outfits, giving me a makeover, braiding my hair, calling Robin Hood and hanging up. You're trying to win me over so I can assuage your guilt, intentionally or not, Miss Swan. You brought Marion back. You ruined my life, and there is no coming back from that. Because I know you think you didn't mean to, but you hurt someone. So do as I do. Learn to live with it. Welcome to my world.
I like it.
She does it so much more angrily than I did it because I don't want to be too loud, but
right.
I have my limits. But yeah, I had another point that had to do with Kristen Bauer. Where did the point go?
It's lost in the abyss.
I had it and I lost it. But I love that I love because it's a very cathartic. I mean, I made my comment of I felt like Lana was getting some aggression out, but it felt like a very cathartic scene for Regina because she has a moment where she can just be like, "Here's all the shit you did to me. I'm not about to just let you get like it.
Yeah,
I'm just going to forgive you so you can feel better." And that's totally fair of Regina to feel like that
I
because
agree.
this is a case of I don't think she's this unlike holding a grudge against a 10-year-old and then casting a curse that cursed hundreds. That's a little bit of a different situation. But with this one, she's allowed to feel her feelings and she's allowed to be angry because this isn't a case of it wasn't truly Emma's fault. It was.
It was.
Emma did whether she clearly didn't mean to ruin Regina's life, but she meant to bring Marion back, and that I think is the difference.
Yeah.
Unlike Snow, where Snow had other intentions. If she was manipulated by Cora, but she felt like she didn't want Regina to lose her mother. Like she had pure intentions, and I mean, it's the road to hell is paved with good intentions, but she didn't mean to hurt Regina, and it was
Yeah.
Regina's own mind twisting what happened in the wrong way. Um, Emma intended to bring Marion back. The consequences are the consequences.
Yeah.
She's allowed to be angry. Yeah, this is where I wrote, oh yes, Ingrid the scary clown. I see it now. And she made I'm going to build a snowman so menacing.
I know. I love her. I think she's great. I just got bored during this one,
Yeah,
but
no,
she's
that's
so
fair.
great and I love her.
I'm going to build a snowman. I love her voice so much. Like it's just it's so
It's enjoyable.
she's just enjoyable. She's enjoyable to watch. She's a phenomenal actor. She's got this character who's so deep and so twisted and got so much other stuff going for it. And I have a whole rant in a little bit about how much of her motives we're actually seeing. But she's just fantastic. So I'm just gonna watch in awe and smile as she sends murderous snowmen after
Everybody.
after everyone. There's something real special though about the chaining Elsa to the ground. I'm like looming over her. I'm like, I have problems.
Just a little bit. But hey, admittance is the first step.
Yeah, it didn't help that as after I watched this, I was listening to an audiobook that was real specific. We got Boss of Her by Anna Stone. It's real good audiobook. Can't recommend it enough.
Never change. Never change.
I like what I like. What can I say? I like what I like. Apparently that's blondes that say mean things to me.
I mean, it's very niche.
It is.
Very niche.
It's very niche. But one thing I will say with the Snow and Will Scarlet thing, David turned around and Will Scarlet was just behind him.
Yeah.
So he's just a shitty. I mean,
Yeah.
we already knew he was a shitty sheriff to begin with, but then when you add that around, so Snow there's no tracking. She just sees him.
Yeah. That was such a dumb.
It was not good. And then
it was so bad.
but one thing I'll appreciate with the line of when she starts saying, and she says, you know, I'm the sheriff's wife. And he goes, "You're married to the blonde." Like, I'll give him this. There's no judgment. He's just confused.
Yeah, he's like, wait a minute, I didn't know she was married.
I was like, but because I think he's in his mind, he's like, but wasn't she kissing the pirate before? Like, because he saw all that. So that was the confusion, not that. And she's like, but then she goes like, she's my daughter, and he went, okay, then.
Because that makes sense since they
That
look the exact same age.
Makes more sense. So I'll give him that. But it's just we could have done entirely without it because it's
we could have gotten more information on the other story arcs.
Exactly. Like we could have
throwing this random Snow won't leave Neil for very long thing.
Yeah.
It's like I'm so sick of that.
And like
every time there's a baby, they always go through this whole thing of like, I can't leave the child. Like you can. It's hard. But
I'll give her this. Her reasoning being because of curses and witches and snow queens. That does make sense.
Yeah, they're already in one curse.
This is true.
Technically two.
Well, yeah. Technically, okay. So the curse that brought them back to Storybrooke is broken. So we're back kind of in that situation of they're in Storybrooke.
Storybrooke.
But it's the curse is broken. Like they're in Storybrooke, but
Yeah,
There's
but,
also a
like,
case
the
of,
town's also surrounded with ice.
well, that's the thing, is if they are still surrounded by the giant ice wall, no one can get in or out. So there is that aspect of it.
Well, I mean, if no one can get out, the baby will be somewhere.
This is true. The baby, you'll find him somewhere.
Somewhere.
I love the line of, I like to get to the Snow Queen before it's actually winter.
Yeah.
Because that I liked the inclusion of. How did you feel about the ice staircase? I thought it was gratuitous, but I liked it anyway.
It's cute.
Yeah.
It was a cool way too of being like, "See, we can do good CGI. Look at this."
The CGI though of them running as the staircase is breaking was fantastic.
It was great. Like, I was, like, very actually surprised and happy with the CGI of this episode because I have you seen this stuff recently? Like, people will point out the CGI in, like, the early Transformers movies,
Hmm.
and all you hear people be like, "Why it happened? Like, why did CGI downgrade?" And I'm like, "Because they're not paying people enough."
They're not paying people enough, and they're not giving them enough time.
So, how can you get good CGI when they don't allow it to
You get
happen?
you get what you pay for.
Exactly. So, it's kind of fun to watch when there is good CGI somewhere, especially when
Hmm.
it's from 2014, and you're like, "Damn,
Yeah,
that's actually
not bad.
not bad."
Yeah,
Which I think is around the time we had Transformers movies. I
yeah,
think I was in high school.
that sounds right.
So,
Yeah,
who
I used to
knows?
when I was a kid, I used to think Emma's response to finding out that Lily actually had a family was overreacting. But she's 14. And she's also known the girl is like she's known the girl a day, so her trust issues, she doesn't really have any she doesn't really know how to trust anyone
Mhm.
because she's been in the foster system her entire life. So she thinks she probably learned early on to not trust anyone. This is the first time she's like, "Oh, maybe I can trust somebody," and it blew up in her face. So the fact that she's like has the big reaction she does, I'm like, looking back on it, it makes more sense. It's still a little bit of an overreaction, but
Yeah.
she's not mentally healthy.
She's also a child.
Yeah, she's 14,
Like, maybe we did actually react to things that big when we were 14 and just don't remember it.
possibly. But Regina yelling at Sydney, I was like, that's good acting with your prop, Lana, because she's
Mhm.
just screaming at, because it was Sydney the Magical Compass was what I kept calling that. But
She's phenomenal.
but she's good. That was good acting with the prop because obviously she's not yelling at anybody. She's holding the mirror in her hand.
But yeah, the mirror, something's supposed to happen with the mirror. That's what this was. This
Yes.
whole episode was
Sid
her getting the mirror.
Yeah, the whole point of the episode was so it was Ingrid getting the mirror, and I wrote down her I have what I want, and then she used
Mhm.
this a poof thing. There's a blooper of that. It's just she does that, and then she pauses. She goes, "I just threw dirt in my face. Let me try that again."
Oops.
That's one thing. I watched this a compilation. I mean, it's not in there because the video's too old, but it was a compilation of of Elizabeth Mitchell laughing. Because this is what I was going to say before about Kristen Bauer, and it works with Elizabeth Mitchell. It works for most of the actors, most of the villains on the show. I would say. I love that very often the villains on this show or villains in general are played by some of the sweetest, kindest people
Mhm.
because I feel like they enjoy it far more than like someone who's like actually kind of a bitch in real life because then they're going to play it almost they're going to forget the heart of the character that this is still a
Yep.
person at the end of the day. So like Elizabeth Mitchell seems to be just a sweet, lovely woman who like she does a great job at playing truly menacing characters. But with Kristen Bauer specifically, like with Maleficent, the character she plays on True Blood is Pam, and the best way to describe Pam is she could not care less about anyone else's feelings. Like she's like this is like the line that I think I read down was like, I don't know what it is about me that makes people think I want to hear their problems. Maybe I smile too much. Maybe I wear too much pink. But know this, I can rip out your throat if I need to, and also know that I am not a hooker. That was a long, long time ago. I love her so much. That woman cries at the drop of a hat.
Oh my god.
Like if you listen to the Truest Blood podcast, do a drinking game of how many times Chris like take a shot and if you can drink, not Katie, if you can drink.
Not Katie.
Not if you're sober, please don't do this, but if you do drink and you are of legal age, I won't do this because you'll be drunk within the first episode if you take like a sip or a shot every time Kristen Bauer starts crying. Like there's a scene that she talks about constantly that like it's a big emotional scene for her character. And like when they asked her about it, she's like, I can put the clip in this because I've definitely watched it recently, so I can put this clip into the show notes. But she's like, yeah, it's like I cried when I read it, I cried at the table read, I cried when the camera was on my back. But they're telling you
That's crazy.
like save it for your close up, and then Alex goes, "But when it's our close up, nothing." Like she's just I love the villains are played by some of like the softest, kindest people. And like I
Mhm.
think that makes the characters more compelling because they find that heart of the character while having them say and do the most ridiculous, bitchy things.
They get to have fun
They get to that's exactly it. They get to have fun.
because that's everybody's goal, right? To play, like, the best villain?
Yeah. Well, because I think it's Victoria Smurfit that said that she's a nicer person when she gets to play a villain. 'Cause she gets to be a bitch at work all day and then go home and, like, the kids are throwing the food on the floor, like, "Oh, it's fine, love it, the dog will get it, it's fine." But
It's
then, like,
therapy.
it's therapy. That's what it is, it's therapy. They get to because they get to do the things that they think but don't do in real life, and I'm gonna save the story that I'm thinking of for when we actually meet the Queens of Darkness, 'cause I had to save some things for that for that
Yeah.
arc. There's a great story that just makes me laugh every single time. But this is we can do, stats after this, and I have 2 minor rants after stats. But just
Oh.
the final, conversation that they have, Emma and Regina have in the vault before the end of the episode, and Emma's looking to, for her to be her friend, but I just love that it starts with, "What do I have to do to get you to leave me alone, Swan? Go away. I'm an idiot. Finally, something we can agree on."
That was good.
And then ends with, "I don't want to kill you." See? That's a start.
That was a
It
good
has
one.
it has some good moments. It has a lot of good lines. So, Katie, what did you rate Breaking Glass?
So I gave plot and personal 6s
Okay.
because yeah.
Mhm.
And characters 7 because there's just there's characters we just don't even need in this episode. So it's only a 19. But,
Okay,
like,
that's fair.
there's just a lot that I'm like, we could do without so much of this
Mhm.
and giving us something else. Like, give me more than just a day with
Yeah.
Emma and Lily together. It's like, make the betrayal a bigger deal.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, make it harder to find this. I don't know, something. But the
Mhm.
entire plot, like third fucking plot added to this episode,
3, 4,
just
5.
it made it so boring because what you wanted to see wasn't happening because you're stuck in another storyline.
Yeah.
And then you finally get to the other storyline, and then they're like, "Nope, gotta cut that off now. We gotta go back to the storyline you don't give two fucks about." And you're just kind of sitting there like, "Damn it, now I'm bored again."
Mm,
Like it's just so dumb.
yeah.
But yeah, 19.
So I also gave it a 7 for character because of that overstuffedness. I'm like, we're just not getting like I said, we're not getting enough of the characters we're not getting enough of any of them. We're getting
Yeah.
snippets of everything. I actually gave plot and personal both 9s, weirdly enough. I think that's because I know how plot relevant for the entire season these
Hmm.
flashbacks are.
Ah, see, I don't.
Like personal I just personally again, I like seeing Lily. Ingrid is just fun to watch in everything that she does. Just keep being you, Ingrid. But I talked to a fictional character from 10 years ago, it's fine. But, I think it's because I know how relevant those flashbacks are, not only for, like, other flashbacks, but, like, even, like, for this arc, because 'cause we're gonna see obviously, like I said, we're gonna see,
Hmm.
Emma and Ingrid in the flashbacks in 410, and then we're gonna see more of Emma and Lily in 419. So, it's just I know how relevant that is, and this needed to be set up for all that to work.
So not time wasted, just
No, it's just
boring. That's
it's
all.
but still not as boring as The Tower.
God, nothing is more boring than the tower.
No, that one's good. That one's
Like
just nothing happened.
we go from nothing happens to eggs and fairies to my long lost sister wants to kill me. Like there's just
Mhm.
so much. Oh, but everyone's related.
But no one's other than Ingrid and Elsa, that no one's blood related to our main characters this season.
Fucking finally.
There's no blood relation.
Finally. Did we get to did we figure out the wreath so we can move on?
Um,
Oh fuck.
no, there's more.
Damn it.
Yeah,
Well, a girl could hope.
we're gonna see someone real important in season 6, which is a mind fuck in and of its own, and I
Oh
still
god.
kinda hate it, but it is what it is. I hate the
I have
connection.
years until that. I'm good.
I hate the connection. I adore the actor. The
Ooh.
character isn't really in enough of the show. Like, she's there, but she's not enough for me to really have strong opinions because that season is weirdly structured. Because they try to go back to kind of like how they did stuff in season 2 where it wasn't like half and half,
Mhm.
and it's makes every bit in it feel like it still needed more time, is the way that I can phrase
Gotcha.
it. So, similarly with her, when she shows up, I'm like, "We still need more time with you." I love the actor, I think she did a great job. But I've been thinking about, I think I keep doing this, but I keep comparing basically everything to the Pan arc.
Everything.
Everything. And with Ingrid, I'm just going to read what I wrote because I think I wrote it down as academically and sound as I could. Uh, Ingrid keeping her plans to herself, again, works better than Pan. He was outwardly lying, and we never got a sense of what he was truly after. And as a stereotypical hero, we need a stronger sense of what he's after for any of this to make any sense. Ingrid is the Snow Queen. She's already the villain of her own story. So we're starting there. She's not lying. She's simply not revealing the whole truth of what she's after. Because we get the taste of, I'll have a family that loves me. We know this something, and if you know the Snow Queen story, like the original fairy tale, the mirror makes more sense.
Oh,
But they will like there's one case of like there's a little bit of info dumping, but like it's done well, so you'll know exactly what she's doing with it. But her thing of I have a family that loves me. However, we don't need all the details because we get a sense that her getting what she deserves will be bad news for everybody.
mm-hmm.
We're not left questioning what it'll do. We're simply along for the ride. Or contrarily, she's just more fun to watch for me, so I don't care. Who knows?
All of the above.
All of the above. And this was my last thing with this is them trying to establish Emma and Regina as a friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I think it works really well from the aspect of they both understand what it's like to be misunderstood and left out. They understand that aspect of it. And I can see how this is a good step for them having a better working relationship and have better co-parent relationship. But I don't know. I never fully see them in like this deep friendship that they seem to claim that the two of them have. Like, I never saw it building throughout the rest of the show. This is a good starting point for them to have a closer relationship than they have in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But and like there is a safety there. Like they know that like it's more a case of like not found family but forced family.
Forced family makes sense with Regina.
Like it's more because like they're connected through Henry. They're connected through the connection that they have with everybody else. But the two of them together, I never fully get that friendship.
Okay.
So it's a good moment. It's a good moment of connection for like that. I said that deeper connection, that safety that they have with each other. But I don't know if I'd go as far as to call it a friendship. So
Okay.
it's a little lackluster.
I see. I think it's okay. I'll have to keep that in mind while
Mm-hmm.
continuing to watch.
Yeah, we'll see where it
That's
goes.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Bob's Burgers, Season 8, Episode 1, Brunch Squatch, and Episode 2, The Silence of the Louise. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and Blue Sky. And if you'd like to join our Patreon, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Lauren and Katie and edited by Lauren.